What's up, guys? It's Kara. I am going to be doing my March wrap-up video and my April TBR video all in ones to save video space and time. So here I'm going to start with my wrap-up of what I read in March and give just a little brief synopsis and like what I thought about it. And I reviewed some of them on my channel if you would like to go check them out. And then I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to be reading for the month of April. All right. So, um, sorry I didn't get a chance to do my horror today. Whatever. It's like 90 degrees out. Anywho, so the first book that I read this month was The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. And this is the fourth in the Percy Jackson series, and I thought that this book was 5 out of 5 stars, amazing. I did review it on my Goodreads, so I'll link my Goodreads down below. You can check out, I think I reviewed all of these books. But if you haven't read the Percy Jackson series, you should read it. Hands down, one of the best series I've ever read. Okay, the second book I read I do not have with me, but it is called Moving Day, and it's by Meg Cabot. And the main character is a 9-year-old girl who finds out that she's going to be moving, and it's just about her and what she thinks about it. And it's extremely young. It's for a younger audience, so I wouldn't recommend reading it unless you're 9 or 10, because it was little, it was young. But I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, the next book that I read, and sorry that I'm going kind of fast, but I don't want this video to be too long. The next book that I read was Matched by Ali Condé. And again, I do not have this book with me because I checked these books out from my library on audiobook. And I listened to Matched on audiobook. And let me tell you, it was horrible. It's about a girl who, it's kind of dystopian, and when they turn 16 they get matched to someone who might not live in the same area they live in, so they probably haven't seen the person they have been matched to, and she gets matched to her best friend, and then she kind of starts falling for someone else, and there's this kind of repressive society all around her that she's kind of becoming aware of. And it's just, I thought it sounded good, but I had heard a lot of split feelings about it, and I did not like it. I didn't like the writing style, I didn't like the plot, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like anything about it. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Beauty Queens by Libba Bray, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Sorry, my hair is just bugging the crap out of me. It's like all like whooshy and stuff. It's annoying. But Beauty Queens is about a bunch of beauty queens who get stranded on an island, and I also listened to this book on audiobook because I heard the audiobook was a lot more interesting than reading the book, and I think that is very true. The audiobook was amazing. It was wonderful, and it was narrated by Libba Bray, so that just adds more awesome to this book. I mean, she gave voices to all the different beauty queens and the different characters, and she really made this book come to life, so I do recommend reading Beauty Queen. Okay, the next book I read was another. I only had 2 5s this month. Oh, and I read 7 books. I only had 2 5s this month, and this was the highest 5 I can possibly give. If I could give a 6, I would give this book a 6. Hands down, one of the best books I've ever read in my life. And if no surprise, it was the 4th Fablehaven. Let me tell you, this series is ridiculous. It's so good, and especially this book, because now that I know more about just the whole world and things like that, it's really starting to tie together, and it's just full of action, and new characters are introduced, and it's just brilliant. I loved it. And this one is called Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary. So, and let's just talk about how beautiful this cover is. I definitely think this is my favorite cover of the month. Gorgeous. I love illustrated covers. The next book that I read in this month was, well, I finished it this month, but it was George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones. Oh, I forgot to mention that Fablehaven's by Brandon Mull. But it took me exactly 3 months-ish to read this book. Of course, I read books in between, but I mean, this book is a monster. It is so thick, 835 pages long. Wow. And I bent the cover like crazy, but let me tell you, it was worth reading, guys. It was phenomenal. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars just because even though it was really, really good, it wasn't really my favorite just genre, but I really liked it. I did. And I did watch the first season. Actually, I watched it all this weekend on my neighbor's HBO channel because I don't have HBO, which is why I don't watch it when it airs. But I watched the whole season, and let me tell you guys, if you do not want to read this 835-page book, watch the TV show. I would be completely happy with that. I think the TV show is just as good as the book. I mean, obviously the book is better because it offers more of an insight to the character's thoughts, and it just has so much more stuff in it. But the TV show really isn't that different from the book. I really did feel the same tone, and the characters I liked, and they took some stuff out, but some of the stuff they took out I actually liked that they took out, and then other stuff I didn't like. So it's really, but I think that Game of Thrones is definitely worth reading or watching. I would recommend watching it if you don't want to read this huge book. So that's what I say about Game of Thrones. And then the last book that I read, I do not have it with me because it was an audiobook. I listened to a lot of audiobooks this month. It was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I gave that book a 3 out of 5 just because, how do I say this nicely? When I was a kid, watched the movie Treasure Planet, which is like a Disney movie or whatever. But when I read the book, obviously Treasure Planet is like a retelling of Treasure Island, but I couldn't get Treasure Planet out of my head when I was reading it, so it was kind of hard for me to enjoy it because I kept thinking about that movie. So what can you do? What can you do? But it was very enjoyable. Not my favorite classic, but whatever. Okay, so that was all that I read in March. I only read 7 books, which is pretty good for me, but I wish I would have read more. Alright, and then really quick, I'm going to do my to be read for, it's heavy, for the next month, April. And some of them I didn't get to in March because I just didn't have enough time, and I would read other books. I will not do that this month. I will try to read all the books that I've set out. So, the first, actually, scratch that. Here. I am currently reading High Society by Ali Carter, and it's taken me a while to read just because it's kind of boring. So right now I think it's boring, but I still have a good 150 pages left. So I'll probably do a review on it. And then I'm also reading this book for history class, which is Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, and I have to read this really soon. So I will be reading this book and this book. I should have finished High Society in March, but I didn't. And also 2 books that I should have finished in March but didn't. The first one is Shatter Me by Taharia Mafi. I will be reading this one after I finish these 2. So then I will be reading this one. And I'll also at the same time be reading A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And I'll be listening to this one on audiobook, but I just so happen to have the physical copy, lucky me. So those will be the next 2 that I read after I finish the other ones. And then I will be reading The Last Olympian, which is by Rick Riordan, and it is the 5th and final book in the Percy Jackson series. So I'm really excited to read this one. And then I will definitely be reading this book, because this book that I'm about to show you is the book that my book club is reading for this month, and we meet around the 22nd usually, so I will definitely, I have to get this one done. So it is Ender's Game. So we will be reading Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I've never got to read that book in high school, so gotta read it now. And if I finish all of those books, hopefully I will. If I don't, I won't be able to get to this book. But the last book that I have set up to read for the month of April is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. So yes. And I don't know if you guys care, but I had so many books because I bought more books over the weekend, and I will be doing a book haul for you guys. And I have some really good books that I bought, but I had nowhere to put them, so I had to move all my shoes. So check out, all of my shoes are on, well, not all of them obviously, but lots of my shoes are on my bed right now. So I gotta figure out where to put those. But anyway, just problems as book lovers have, right? No space to put your books. Anyway, thanks for watching this absurdly long video, and I will see you guys in my book haul. Bye.